Oof. Hey guys, big morning in the ES. Wanted to run through today's trades. Lots going on, lots of good trading activity. So let's run through it here. The little gap up this morning, and then really started selling off right from the open. And the first trade, actually, the first trade was the 15-minute opening range breakout. Unfortunately, that one took me out for -4 on this little bounce, and then we rolled over. So if you use the full 15-minute and the first candle is larger than 20 points, you can just cut that in half. And so today it was about 27 points. If you cut that in half, you get around 13 and a half points as your stop. You can use that, or you can use -4 all the time. So those are kind of your two options for the 15-minute. But other than that, everything else was, well, I guess I shouldn't say the 15-minute didn't work out. It just, I wasn't in the trade to the plus 20. But I guess that being said, we had what, four last week plus 20, so not too heartbroken about that. But then the first 1 minute trade was this hammer uh, right at the close of the 745 bar. Actually, I'll put on my arrows. So that was this guy here. We traded up a couple of bars, got a really nice strong break, and I thought we could get all the way to the 50% retracement, but we didn't even make it there. And then we started rolling over, and that really accelerated our down move. So trailed that one up a couple. Yeah, it was only about a point or so, and then we started to sell off. And then the next one was a okay. So the next one was a micro at the just before the top of the hour, and that was 7:55. So we came down. We actually did fill the gap. So it was right about here. 7:55. So we filled the gap, and we were it felt very bearish. We had not a very strong, but a decently bullish breadth and advanced decline line, and we were just every time the market would get a little bit of a bounce, we would sell hard, and you could just see it in the speed that the candles were forming and how fast we were dropping. So I took the halfway back short here, which I usually wouldn't do coming off a gap fill, but in the context of what we had last week was all selling and then Friday's rally, and then today to gap up and fill the gap so quickly, um, it felt very bearish. So I took the shot at the halfway back short there, and then that one rolled very quickly once again. I continued that trend. I ended up just coming in and trailing my stop behind each candle here as we were dropping pretty quick, and ended up out right above this guy here. It was like a 24.50, 24 and a quarter, somewhere around there, I think. 54 and a quarter rather, and that was for like 8 points on that move down. And then the next one, there's a lot of them today. Next one was a 1 minute at 8:02. That was this hammer here. And seeing as we had a low tick at 8 o'clock, and then this was a higher low, I did acknowledge that it was an inside bar off of this big candle, but we had the low tick, and that was a giant candle. So I felt like it was worthy taking the higher low in this situation, because there was, even if we only traded to the top of that candle, the top of the range is big enough where it gives us wiggle room. And that's the thing about range bound markets. If it's a very tight range, it's going to be more difficult to trade. If it's a big enough range, you can have multiple uptrends and downtrends within a range, just trading from the top to the bottom of the range. So took that one tick above highs, and this one ran up to the 21. And I did something a little bit different in this one. I took it off at plus 8 points because we were in this fairly fast moving downtrend. I felt like if we got to the 21, we'd probably roll over, and so I just took it off at 8 points rather than kind of expecting it to make it up to the what would have been the full halfway back of the day. It would have been way up here. So I took that one off for +8, and then we rolled over, and then I shorted below this bar at 8:07. We had a high-ish tick. I think it was this guy, 807. Yeah, it wasn't the high of the day, but it was relatively high. And we were at the 21, so sold one tick below that. And that one went down. I thought this one was going to send us into new lows. So we had a really strong push down. Second bar went down, and then we started to rally a bit. So that one only got out for like a point and a quarter. Um, and then let's see, 832, 812. Next one was 812. Oh, this another uh, 21 EMA halfway back. This is the 30-minute low here, so a great place to be shorting. And again, thought we have another chance to sell off into new lows, and we weren't able to do that. We got this hammer, so that's where I put my stop. One tick above there. That one was out for 4 points. And at that point, it's like, okay, we had two chances to push down. Now we're starting to lose that downward momentum. And then that was confirmed over here. We ended up with this higher low hammer here. And then that kind of took us up to the full halfway back of the day here. And then, so that took us up to the halfway back. Now we're inside the 30-minute range. It is a big range, but we're still inside it. And then we had an inverted hammer form here, right there at 8:30. But I drew up the halfway back long at the halfway back short. So on the 512 tick chart, I had one drawn up here. Then I do the next one from this low. I had it drawn up like this. And so I wanted the 61.8 to fail of the long before I got in the short. Sometimes when we get to these big halfway backs of the day, we can just move sideways for 5, 10 minutes before we actually break. And so I chose to draw up the halfway back long, wait for this one to break before looking for a retracement entry. So I didn't take the inverted hammer short on this one. I drew up the 50% like this. Once we broke the 61.8, I just took it to the next low. That one traded really nicely at the 50 here, but it only went I don't know, only went about 5 points, and then we rallied. I drew the next 50% retracement like this. And so I got taken out only for about a point and a half. So I thought we could get a bigger move down. We did actually get more of a push, but it was only to the opposing halfway back long. But I wasn't in that second move because I was taken out up here at the 61.8. So at that point, we bounced off the 50. Now we're trading above, or we were trading above the 61.8. Now we're back down. So now we're in this cluster of chop with nothing in here to do. So kind of a very fast moving morning. Love to see it. Lots of good trade opportunities, halfway backs, retracements. Last week, the 15-minute just crushed it. So yeah, things are looking really good. We don't need a huge VIX, a huge jump in volatility to get more opportunities. We just needed a little bit of extra momentum, basically breaking from the consolidation that we were in to really get us moving. So yeah, that was a good morning, good way to kick off Monday. Normally, I wouldn't have quite that many trades on a Monday, but things were just rolling off, and especially on the 1 minutes, we were breaking and going really fast. So if you were using, just an arbitrary target like the one trade I took off at +8, I know some of you are using a 3 point stop, 6 point target. You got 4, 5, 6 pointers in a row, just bam, bam, bam. So good morning, and hopefully the week continues. The one caveat I will say is tomorrow we don't have any news on the calendar, so we'll see. A lot of times that doesn't lead to great trading when there's no economic news. But the rest of the week looks really good. And then Jerome Powell speaks on Friday, although that's after the morning session, so that may not affect things. But looks like a good week, and hope you have a good week of trading. We'll talk to you soon.